Hello, I'm Cody, and welcome to session 49 of my Pillars of Eternity Triple Crown attempt. Last time, we killed the Adra Dragon, had a long chat with Iovara about the nature of the gods, and have generally been on this island here, just trying to progress the main quest. Also hit the max level. Alright.
Hmm? Sharp eyes and
Hello.
keen ears.
Is everyone still there?
Yes, Cat, I was actually just about to mention that it's quite dark in here. Huh. A petrified person had a ring of searing flames on them. Oh, that's nice.
Look at that. A city to put all others to shame. And long lost.
I would have brought a torch if you'd asked.
I don't suppose you could make a few bridges the same way, hmm?
Can you do that again? I had something in my eye. Missed most of it.
Another Boots of Speed. Not sure if anybody wants those. Where'd they even go? It's possible giving them to Maneha would be nice. Devil of Karok does have trouble getting into position, but I like her with the one she's got. Yeah, decreases her damage. Nah, she doesn't really
I'm
have
here.
trouble getting into position thanks to Dragon Leap, so I think the extra damage is probably better. And I like having the heal boots on Nedar. I like having those heal boots on at least somebody.
Wayfair, sailmace, maid.
I'm here. Ah!
Yes? Let's end this!
I'm ready. Yes.
Spot on!
Right here.
I'm surprised they cannot path over this corpse. It does not
Tell
look
me.
like it should block their pathing.
Just like old times.
Uh-huh.
Just like old times.
Sharp eyes and keen ears.
Now here's something.
Ooh, nice. The gloves of swift action. We got those on Chie, right? Yeah, let's have more actions than on Maneha. Should beat. Yeah. Shadow Drake, eh?
Endless Maytu.
I got myself blinded on the disengagement
Tell me.
attack there. That's unfortunate. Really annoying with everyone surrounded by these shades. We're all going to be blind.
Hey.
I'm ready. Watch your fire! Adovidore. Yes. Spot on!
Oh, nice.
Right here.
Following your lead. Let's end this!
Lead the way. Just like old times.
Watch your fire!
Hey.
Uh-huh.
For Takoa!
Lead the way.
Following your lead.
Right here.
I don't know why that barely moved, but alright. Made it.
Laying low.
The shadows in the cavern suddenly lengthen and swallow you. When your eyes adjust to the darkness, you find yourself in the midst of what must be another vision. You are surrounded by mists. The ground feels springy under your feet. You imagine that as soon as you take a step, the soil beneath you will erase all trace of your passage. As if on cue, the mists before you clear just enough for you to take a couple steps forward. You do, and the fog closes behind you. You continue for several minutes in this manner, one step at a time, never seeing more than the ground right in front of you. Eventually, rays of light cut through the haze and you find yourself facing a canyon wall. Elegina's head violently snaps to one side, her eyes tracking some unseen threat. She puts her hand to the side of her face where two of her feathers have been cut short near the base. Tufts of down float in the air. Something whizzes past you. Just as you turn, you catch another whir of movement. Out of the mist flits a shape, small and round. You think you see another, and another. They trickle the corners of your vision. You turn back to the canyon wall. The sun shifts along its path, and what looked like a smooth rock face is the hollow of a cave. Figure steps out, its features shifting and changing before your eyes. He who sees and is not seen. Save us when he chooses, it seems. Canna regards the figure with wary fascination. I thought the god of mystery is my chief enemy, at times, but one cannot seek out answers if the questions aren't there. The figure transforms from male to female, from Orlin to Aomawa, its bones lengthening and its fur receding into his flesh. The only detail that remains constant is the smooth, eyeless face. The whizzing, rushing shapes from the mist converge on the figure, and as they form a spinning cloud, you realize that they are eyes.
You understand the value of a mystery watcher, a buried scroll, a hidden truth. These are my ways. You unravel a thread, watcher, one you have lost and discovered over generations, and following it to its end has only brought you back to the beginning.
The eyes track you, even as they circle the god. What you talking about? Whale giggles, a strangely modulated sound that rises and falls as the god shifts from one form to the next. You seek and search while your foe obscures, and even your quest for answers to your past has only led you to another mystery, one grander still. My goal now is to see to the souls Theos is trapped. Yes, but what would you do with them?
A nebula of souls, blind and brimming with potential. The answer to Woodika's question and the beginning of yours. What would you do with them?
Thunderclouds from overhead, casting shadows of movement across the canyon. According to Hylia, it's possible to restore them to the Hollowborn.
A song the world knows and tires of. The droning chorus repeated again and again. Better the improvised melody, the unfolding chant. The listeners sit rapt, and just when they think they have the tune, it changes again. Even the gods require fresh mysteries.
The clouds break, and the torrent of rain washes Whale's features clean. His blank face molds itself again, taking on the shape of something you've never seen before. Do not consign the souls to the fate of some god's choosing. You have found them, now scatter them across existence. Their destination known to neither god nor mortal. Let them be lost again, new answers to new riddles. Behind him, the sudden downpour has carved new caves into the canyon. But what would happen to the souls?
None know. They could end up anywhere in the realms of gods or mortals, whole or divided. Discovering them again and charting their course through the ether will be a new mystery.
And what end would that serve?
No end, Watcher. That is the purpose.
Okay. See you later, Whale.
That is a word for endings, and this is but a crossroads. Even I do not know what you would choose.
Shadows from the new caves melt and spread across the landscape, covering you in darkness. When the light returns, the vision is gone. I mean, that sounds like a terrible idea. I feel like restoring them to the Hollowborn makes way more sense if there was any purpose at all, or any reason not to, then maybe I'd consider it, but at the moment I fail to see any reason to go along with Whale's mad plan. Is this just a shortcut back to where I was earlier? Can't tell. It might be an item or something in there, I guess. We'll jump to the freestanding segment. Yeah, of course. Chie gets a running start and leaps over the gap. However, Chie cries out upon landing and collapses to the other side in a tangle of limbs. Interesting. It said I got a camping supply, but I didn't have room, so it just got deleted, I assume. And yeah, got a twisted ankle from that. And well, it was more than just returning. It was an item. That's cool. I guess just jump again. Chie misjudged the distance and falls short. Chie manages to grab the jutting out to the brim, legs dangling over empty space. With a painful gasp, Chie climbs to safety. Well, I'm glad I didn't rest over there, because he probably has a second one. Yeah, now sprained wrist. It's so dumb, those events. I love the idea of them, but like, so often they're just, well, one of your party members is getting an injury and there's basically nothing you can do about it. Like, that one feels like it should be one of those ones where it's like, who do you want to do this with? You pick whomever has the highest athletics and you're fine. But it didn't even give me that choice. It's just, does your protagonist have athletics? I assume is the test. Maybe it's just plain, no, you're just taking an injury and no stat or skill will prevent it. But like, regardless, it's not, like, I don't understand how that could be good gameplay.
Try something else. Lead the way.
These things are fast.
Ah!
Hey.
Yes? For Takoa!
I'm ready.
Tell me. Oh? Try something else.
Right here.
I'm here. Just like old times. Ah!
Hey. Leave it to me!
Following your lead. Let's end this!
Uh-huh.
Ah!
Let's see what we got.
Can't go down those stairs, apparently.
Sharp eyes and keen ears. Whew, good thing I sold most of my jewelry.
Be cautious. Be constant.
Yes. Spot on.
Hey.
Following your lead. Wait, your tale ends here!
I'm ready.
Watch your fire.
Right here.
Just like old times.
The Arches Vox Conver. Ha!
I shall be quiet as a calm sea, which is not very.
We did that. Alright. I don't know how I missed that one, but whatever. I'm sure it's just a spirit thingamajig. Spirit residue.
Are you ready to take the oath? To spread the word of the gods to the lost and heathen? I am trusting you to remain loyal to the gods in this. If you do not, you will have greater powers than me to answer to. But you will answer to me as well. I wouldn't ask this were there any other choice.
Oh, that's not terrible. 2 might to resolve. Don't know who's using a belt. Well, maybe. Can't believe she's still using the trollhide belt. She's got +3 resolve, so all it would do for her is +1 might, it looks like, because of the +1 might on her ring. She's got +3 might on her ring. She's got might on her armor. Huh. No, it didn't change his armor. I didn't see might anywhere. Or his damage. I didn't see might anywhere on him, though. Where is he getting might from? Bracers of all-consuming. Ah. Might and con. Yeah. So I had a +3 con ring. It doesn't make sense to do that then. I don't know.
This is a missionary, same as I was, taught the wrong things as I was. Oceanus. They have held off many would-be invaders.
You are ready to give a confession?
I am ready to hear one from you.
Well, this looks big. I don't know if there's anything I can do to prepare, really.
Yes.
Yes?
Nope. Don't feel like cooking a bunch more to make everyone eat something, but
Certainly.
maybe that'll do something. I gained a lot of experience for that. 20,000. Just walking through that circle. Shame I'm at the max level. You've come to a circular room, grand and domed. Its walls lined with Adra and trimmed with copper. At the far end, a great pillar of Adra pierces the floor from below like a ragged spike, its shimmering texture giving the illusion of boundless depth. Your thoughts are yours and not yours, and they are all questions. At the base of the pillar stands Theos, a look of concern on his face as he notes your approach. You have something you want to ask him, one question above all others, spinning madly in your mind. But you don't dare ask it yet. You need some admission from him first. Some hint of the veracity of your suspicions.
You are far from your post, Inquisitor. What brings you here?
Your mind races, weighing different angles of approach, your emotions barely in check. I don't really want to ask any of these questions. I assume Iovara was telling the truth. I assume the machine behind him is a container for all of the souls that he's been stealing. The statues just appear to be people who have had their souls taken away. The entire Inquisition is obviously based on a lie, and this place is just a place where he can steal and or store souls. They all seem like questions that have very obvious answers. I guess, what is this place?
We are in a sanctum holy to Utica. There are others like it in service to the other gods. I come here often to pray for her counsel, and in this space I may be assured that she hears me.
And the machine behind you?
It has many uses, but its purpose is to bring structure to the chaos that surrounds it.
Alright, the statues?
They are monuments to Utica's greatest servants among my people. I hope to join them myself one day, but my work is not yet complete.
Oh, by the statues it actually meant those giant statues, not all of the petrified people. And the entire Inquisition was based on a lie, right?
The Inquisition was based on the need to cut the flesh from a rotting wound.
So apparently I just either had to ask everything, or the one question I least wanted to ask was the trigger to the next go. Oh, was Iovara telling the truth?
That woman sought only to destroy the foundations of peace and civility that my people sacrificed everything to build.
You are shaking now, having lost all patience for tact. No, I lost patience for tact before even asking those questions. I really would have picked an option that just said attack. No more evasions. You have to know everything you believed, everything you have done for the gods. Did you lie to me when you said the gods would absolve my sins? Theo says nothing. Are there no gods?
What is a god? A higher power? A rewarder of good deeds and punisher of the wicked? Something men can turn to in their darkest moments when their days seem only like bridges from one tragedy to the next. Our gods are all these things.
With Theos's every word, you find yourself losing control of a boiling cauldron of rage and doubt and fear and hopelessness, until you can take it no more. Are there no gods?
We are in a sacred place within earshot of the gods themselves. This is not the time. You've been through much these past few months. You will return home and you will rest. When you feel you have recovered, you may rejoin us at the trials. The Inquisition is far from over, and I will have need of you. There are many who continue to spread the lies of the apostate. The Inquisition will not end until we have pronounced judgment on all of them.
His eyes linger on you, and there is no mistaking the threat behind it. An Your rage shrinks at the image of an iron wheel in your mind, monolithic and caked with the dried blood of thousands. You do not ask your question again.
How did you find it?
Yeah, I'm done with talking. I'm not here to talk this time. Attack.
Hear me, Woodica. Your servant calls for aid.
Theos puts his hands out low to either side, as though welcoming some unseen guest. He shuts his eyes and casts his face forward, or his face skyward. I think the game might have crashed. No, no. Just took a second to load that audio file, I guess. What's this one again? The afterlife, by just paralyzing them and leaving them sickened.
Pay attention.
I am shocked it worked on him, but delightful. Paralyzed, sickened, hobbled, shock DR reduction, and wounded. All more or less instantly. Let's get Chie this way. These big statues, the judge and the headsman, on the opposite side of her team from her. Oh, also, let's see, can we frighten you too? Yes, you're also frightened, and might as well just bean you for another 12 damage there.
Hmm?
Oh, that was Chie. Oops, for some reason I thought that was Manea. Oh. Yeah, sure. More damage?
Tell me.
Yeah, there's Manea. Part of me wants to just leave Theos. Yeah, I'm gonna leave Theos to have Chie just solo him, I think, if possible.
Just like old times.
Following your lead.
No, Canna did some damage, but
Forticore!
that's just always going to happen.
Yes.
I'm ready.
Anything else she wants to do? Oh, bring up the beetle.
Tell me. Just like old times.
I think there's a good chance this is it. Nice. Yeah, and he's nowhere near as dangerous, apparently, as whomever Laenric is, whom I've said before, I've forgotten, North Alpine Dragon, which continues to amuse me.
Right here.
That I don't remember who Laenric is, despite them being apparently one of the highest level things I've fought. I mean, is what amuses me.
Yes.
Spot on.
Tell me.
Ah! Finish them.
Following your lead. Your tale ends here!
Ah! Spot on. I'm ready.
Aw. For a second there, I thought I was going to finish this without either of them getting a turn. I don't know what it just cast. Doesn't matter, I suppose.
Hey,
shining beacon, whatever that is.
Lead the way.
That's an explosive death, apparently.
Right here.
For Cold Lord!
I'm ready. Lead the way.
Ah!
At your feet rests the body of Theos, hollow, the dense wrinkles shaped by the silent shouldering of an eternal burden now smoothed across his color-drained face. His soul remains still for the moment, defenseless, its energy expended in defeat. It lies sprawled across his body like a death shroud.
All those lifetimes spent to preserve a single vital secret. I can't imagine having that much certainty.
In his own way, Theos must have truly believed he was caring for the people of Aeora, protecting them from themselves. A shame his soul won't have a chance to reflect on his errors before it enters the wheel.
he was good at serving his god, I give him that. He should have picked a better one.
Think he got sick of it all after a couple thousand years? Or did Woodica keep him on the leash?
Can't help but feel sorry for him. To live so long without a fresh start, with no chance to wonder what's around the corner.
Alright, explore Theos' soul. With a deep breath, you plunge into Theos' soul, and where in Brackenberry it had been a maze of narrow corridors and dead ends, now it is expansive and borderless, its walls crumbling into heaps like the ruins of Engwith as you pass through them. You travel for what seems like ages, rushing to a known destination, a memory you glimpsed once before. At last you see it, no more than a pinprick of light at the end of a long tunnel, expanding slowly at first, then quickly as you near. You come out in the throne room you are standing in now, but it is new and pristine and filled with people, thousands of them, all turned towards the great Adra pillar and the machine that encases it. Theos stands at the machine, and you are one with him now. You look out at the crowd, at faces of shriveled old men and cherub-cheeked little girls, at mothers bouncing infants to quiet them, and fathers clasping their children's restless hands and watching you with somber acceptance. A woman with tears in her eyes gives you a small nod. You turn back towards the machine, your breaths constricted beneath the weight of unwanted knowledge, preparing yourself to set out alone on a journey without end. You close your eyes and open them again to find the machine still in front of you, beckoning. You take your place in front of it and place your hands upon a large mechanical disc at the base of the great crystal column and speak a single word. Giant rings creak to life, building speed, setting arrays of carved draconic mouths aglow, and sending tremors through the platform beneath you. The entire room shakes now, with the force of the accelerating machine, all sound drowned out by its deep, deafening thrum. Brilliant tendrils of light arc outward from the pillar in all directions, and you look over your shoulder to see them engulfing the crowd, burning them brightly like hot iron. One by one, the tendrils disappear, leaving ashen effigies where people once stood, many of them disintegrating into gray heaps under the stress of the tremors. You look above to the Adra pillar, and a glowing spherical mass has begun to coalesce atop the column, where the arcs converge. It grows and pulses, translucent and bulbous like some immense chrysalis, suspended in slow rotation as though it were being spun from the arcs of light. When the last arc disappears, the spectral mass hangs for a moment, no longer rotating, so bright you must shield your eyes with an outstretched hand, and it seems to you as though it is looking at you. You bow your head in acknowledgement and look back up to see it melt into the pillar like warm candle wax. The pillar flares with a flash of light, bright as the sun itself, then fades to darkness. The machine slows down to an abrupt halt, and when the last echo of its grinding cogs has passed, The chamber is still, and you are alone. From all sides, reality begins to bleed in through the memory, and you find yourself in your own skin once more, looking down to Theos's lifeless body. You sense a listlessness. Wow, that's an awkward word. You sense a listlessness to Theos's soul, an overwhelming fatigue that hinders its immediate escape, and makes it vulnerable to manipulation. You feel as though your victory has given you some kind of hold over it, and then you are able to do with it as you please. I assume Braith Eamon is the place where Eovara is. I certainly don't want to force her to live with Theos forever. Like, I don't know if she'd be aware of him if it's, I don't know, for lack of a better word, celestially small enough for two souls to interact with each other. She seemed pretty alone there, despite there being more than one, but certainly it is the, my impulse would be that, if not for the fact that I might be cursing Eovara to his presence for eternity. So 4 or 5 is my go-to. I don't know enough about the metaphysics of souls, though, to really make the choice with proper knowledge. If I destroy his memory, is it ever, like, something he could reattain? I don't know, maybe. There's enough weird metaphysical stuff in this world, it's not implausible a Nanomancer might awaken it somehow. So I will destroy his soul for all the suffering he has caused, for the millennia he has wandered Eora, causing awful events to happen in the name of himself and his god. You have caused me great suffering, Theos. You do not deserve to exist. You reach out for Theos' soul, and you can feel its frailty in defeat. Its texture, like coarse and threadbare cloth on the brink of disintegration. You insinuate yourself between the threads, pushing the weaving apart, unraveling the stitching until it is bereft of structure, a formless heap bound together by nothing at all. In its midst, you dedicate your focus to a single idea, and that idea is shatter. You concentrate, and as you concentrate, you feel a force building within your soul, an outward pressure that strains against containment, threatening to rupture your spirit. When you can contain it no more, you transfer it into Theos' soul all at once, and release it there, a detonation of will that expands in all directions, driving out the remnants of his essence, scattering it into nothingness. You can feel his presence once no more. In the stillness that follows, a single word echoes to your mind, a word you spoke when you were one with Theos in an ancient memory. In an ancient memory, you realize it is the word that activates the machine. When I started the session this morning, I really didn't think it was going to just go straight to the final fight. I thought there was going to be, like, we'd leave this island, and then we'd learn of another dungeon we need to approach, and that's where we would confront Theos. Huh. Oh, 3 of my party wish to talk.
We've come to the end of it, my friend. It has been an honor to walk this road with you, and I will regret our parting.
I will not stay en route long. I think, if it means to change, I see there is nothing I can do to stop it. But there are many places yet to see. Mysteries to unravel. Canna inclines his head. And while I cannot say I aspire to match your fierceness, I cannot deny it saved us on many occasions. I thank you.
Theos, he had hold of your soul from a long time back, seems like. You get what you needed from him?
I got justice.
Not many can say that these days. Not in this country where they think the gods have abandoned them. You'll be feeling better soon then. Good. That's real good. You got it figured out what you're going to do about all that?
Not really. Gonna have to see the options and weigh them.
Got a lot of people out there thinking they've been abandoned by their gods. There's not much that'll put the fear in you more than that. You can take my word for it. If it was in my power, and I know it's not, but if it was, I'd send every last one of those souls right back where they were supposed to go in the first place. So folks could get back to believing what they used to.
That is what I'm inclined to do.
After what you've been through, though, I'm sure you got your own ideas. Better make it good.
My main fear of just shoving the souls back where they belong is, how does a 3-year-old child who's been hollow-born their entire life respond to having a soul suddenly? It would potentially just be crueler than sending them back to whatever flux that they're drawn from when new births happen, so that the hollow-born crisis does not continue, but the existing ones aren't suddenly alive.
So much for Theos, then.
The membranes of Pelagina's golden eyes sweep out and retract as she gazes into the great machine.
Now you have a chance to set things right, back to the proper order of things. It will take the Deerwood generations to recover, but at least these souls will find their way back to the wheel, as it should be.
Agreed. With your companions bearing witness, you step up to the place where Theos once stood before his people long ago. The great machine lies in front of you, idle, ready. Wonder if they wrote a different line for this if you came here solo. Or if all your companions died in the fight. As you have seen this machine and others like it in operation. You understand how it works. It is a device for directing souls. As a watcher, it would be a simple matter to influence that direction. Though as big as this machine is, it may be the last thing you ever do. Alright, let's activate the machine. There is a shrieking of stone grinding against stone as old cogs loosen and begin to turn. You have only moments before the souls will be sent into the outer vein. This will be your only chance at redirecting them. No idea what choice number 4 would actually mean. Distribute the essence of the existing souls in Deerwood to strengthen them. Does that just make everyone feel more vital and alive? And then when those people die, would the souls go back to the reincarnation cycle? Conversely, of course, I could just embrace chaos and go with what Whale said. I do like the enigmaticness of Whale. I've already done tasks for them once. I do plan to go on to the sequel after this, and I'll probably carry forward the save file, as I recall that's a thing that can happen. And I've never finished the sequel, and I don't know all of the events, therefore, that transpire there. But I know it, respects many of your choices. I don't know how much of an effect this choice has. It feels like one that should have the largest effect, but at the same time, just knowing the structure of game development, I could see this being almost completely or even completely irrelevant outside of maybe a line of dialogue here or there. I mean, returning them to the bodies is what Eddar wants, and it's what Hylia wants. Neither Canna nor Pelagina nor any of the rest of my companions really expressed a preference. Well, send them back to the bodies. If nothing else, that woman from the beginning, Kalicia's sister. Presumably she hasn't given birth yet. But I don't know if the soul is attached to her baby on birth or on conception. I don't want her to suffer a hollowborn child, so this should guarantee she does not. return the souls to the bodies they were intended for. You close your eyes and expand your perception outward, taking in the immense totality of the tens of thousands of souls orbiting the chamber. Your grasp on the souls is tenuous. You find yourself fighting to keep them all within your influence, and you can feel them slipping away from you as the machine gains speed. Well, I got Won the Game, Expert, and Trial of Iron achievements. Oh, and Path of the Damned, and Triple Crown. Excellent, excellent, excellent. A brief moment comes when it feels as though you hold all of them at once. Then their force is so great it feels as though they will tear you apart. In the moment, you dedicate your entire being to bending their orbit, channeling their flow in a new direction.
At your command, the ancient device became your instrument, spinning to life with deafening resonance and gathering up the swirling essence like thread on a great spindle. There, in the pale pulsing glow of the machine that set you on this path long ago, you summoned all your strength, focusing on your objective and blocking out all else. With a single concussive blast that rocked the chamber and sent you tumbling to the ground, you freed the souls from their stasis. Exhausted, your consciousness slipping away, your last sight was of the machine, dark and dormant. Then your eyes closed, and sleep welcomed you at long last. After coming to and searching for some time, you discovered the route Theos used to enter Sun and Shadow, and embarked on a long and arduous ascent back to the surface. You emerged in Ter Evron after days of tunneling through the rubble Theos had left behind, and when you stepped into the daylight, you were faced with a different Deerwood than the one you had left. At your direction, the souls diverted by Theos were guided back to the vessels originally meant for them. For the first time, parents of hollow-born children woke to the cries of their infants and looked into their eyes to see them staring back. People fell to their knees where they stood, thanking Helia or Mogren or even Aethys for their forgiveness of whatever guilt they felt they bore. But for all the relief that had come to some parents, others only found new grief. For many thousands of Hollowborn had died during Wide One's legacy, many by their parents' own hands. For those children, there would be no homecoming. Yet the last Hollow birth was in the past now, and those parents willing to risk trying for a new child were frequently rewarded, often with twins. Many felt they saw Helia's hand in it, and the year would be remembered as the year of Helia's splendor. Lord Radric's zeal had brought him back to life once, but it would not do so again. Radric's destruction at your hands spelled the end of his suffocating rule over Gilded Vale and the surrounding area. In his absence, the village prospered, becoming a popular destination for new settlers anxious to leave Defiance Bay after the riots. Without a nearby ruler, it also grew more wild, with many settlers moving on as soon as they'd arrived, turned off by lawlessness that was excessive even by Deerwooden standards. Nevertheless, despite the challenges of living there, Gilded Vale had survived, and would continue to survive for the foreseeable future. Following the assassinations of Duke Avar Wolfgren and Lady Webb, Defiance Bay was thrown into political upheaval. In the ensuing weeks, the streets had become the domain of looters and blackguards. Few dared to step outside their own doors alone or unarmed. But once the dozens had regrouped in the wake of the riots, they quickly put an end to the criminal activity. They patrolled the streets in droves and administered their brand of law on any perceived offenders. This was not the erratic justice of the mob, however. The dozens had taken to heart the strengths of their adversaries, the Knights of the Crucible, and emerged as a far more organized, disciplined force. With the waning strength of the other Defiance Bay powers, the leadership of the dozens took the opportunity to establish its own group as the dominant peacekeeping force in the city. The dozens would soon find themselves overwhelmed by the problems of a leaderless metropolis. But they found an uneasy new partner in the surviving forces of the Crucible Knights, who understood the city's infrastructure and were able to keep the worst of its problems under control. The destruction of the machine atop Ter Noaneth spelled the end of the reanimated corpses in Heritage Hill. Though at first few were willing to venture into the abandoned district, it was soon cleaned out and rebuilt. The district's horrors still fresh in people's minds, it would be some time before it was fully repopulated. But eventually the lure of cheap prime land would all but erase the memory. The Duke's assassination at the apparent hands of an animancer had caused catastrophic rioting in the streets of Defiance Bay. But those who had escaped the melee in the palace hearings remembered the testimonies of the strange guest who had shown up that day and absolved animancy, implicating the Leaden Key instead. The rumor spread quickly, and soon the popular belief was that the assassin had been a Leaden Key spy. When the legacy had lifted, people came to see it not as a sign that the riots had been according to the gods' wishes, as Theos had hoped, but as a confirmation that animancy had never been the source of the problem in the first place. Deerwoodans instead convinced themselves that the riots had somehow purged Defiance Bay of Leaden Key spies, and that the end of Widewind's legacy was their well-deserved reward. The rage against animancers was quickly forgotten, and those who had survived were permitted to return to Brackenberry Sanitarium and rebuild it so they might resume their studies. The Hollowborn scourge ended, and healthy children were born once more in the villages of the White March. Yet this new generation displayed an uncanny vigor and a hunger for exploration. In time, they would push across the White March, establishing new towns and restoring forgotten settlements. What had once been a region in decline became a thriving frontier, known for its famous artisans and explorers. Under Tana's guidance, Stalwart's mines were restored, albeit slowly and with half a dozen accidents. However, this did not forestall the arrival of scores of prospectors, many of them brigands and outlaws, and all of them eager to profit from the White Forge. By the time Stalwart reopened its mines, half a dozen others had been excavated in the nearby peaks. The lawless men and women who ran them became a constant source of competition and violence for the beleaguered village. The opening of Durgan's battery created ample opportunities for the smugglers that already prowled the mountains. The law-abiding villagers of Stalwart did their best to bar the gates against these ruffians, yet they somehow found a way into the village, where they spit in the streets and shouted over games of dice. While the villagers fretted and gossiped about their rowdy visitors, few noticed Owina's midnight errands, or the extra coin that passed to her as she served food and drink to the boisterous patrons. Even as Stalwart memorialized the discovery of the White Forge, the arrival of the Watcher became an even more celebrated occasion, for the Watcher had given them not only Durgan's battery, but also hope for their own village. Harmka's death had brought the Devil of Carrick little satisfaction. In time, her taste for vengeance soured. What replaced it was a hunger to feel something, anything, new. Summer had thinned the snowpack twice over when she felt the joint at her elbow first begin to stiffen. She turned her back on the hopes of animancy and civilization and walked east. She pushed through the mountains, past Raid Ceres, and into the broad plains of Ishamiddle. She had forgotten what it was like to simply journey, no goal or destination in mind. Though she felt nothing more than the steady thump of her feet on the road, the endless horizons and grassy meadows were new to her. She measured her time in the gradual rusting of her body and was satisfied. Her movements slowed, but so did the world around her. Waist-high grasses undulated and tacked in the wind, as gradual as the tides. Sparrows and blackjays made steady pilgrimages across the sky, each flap of their wings a solemn salute. She could hardly move when she found something she had never seen before, the ocean. With the last of her strength, she pulled herself beneath the water, content at last to feel the movement of currents and the constant caress of the waves. Maneha never found the salt well, but she found a kind of peace in her duties as a gift-bearer and in the ebb and flow of her journeys. As she traveled and accepted burdens from Andra's supplicants, she saw in their eyes a kind of peace that she had not previously noticed. It was faith, Not that Andra had freed them of their pain, guilt, and regret, but that she would, a little more each year. With that realization, Maneha learned to accept that Andra's ways were as gradual as they were inexorable. The fortress of Cadnua emerged as a bastion of security in the midst of an untamed land, becoming the envy of every thane and earl in Deerwood. Legend grew over time of its impregnability, and stories of formidable invaders easily scattered by the keep's defenses became popular around the hearths of Deerwoodinians. Likewise, it also became a beacon to travelers, merchants, and visiting dignitaries alike. Reputed as the finest fortress in all Deerwood, people would journey from near and distant lands alike to experience its fabled hospitality and grandeur. After the death of the master below, a strange quiet fell over the endless paths of Adnua. The attacks on the fortress above ceased, Adnua's silent titan the closest remaining thing to a master in its musty, forgotten passages. Palagina had gone against the Duke Spell's orders by inventing a new trade arrangement with the Anamenfath to accommodate the recovering Deerwooden market. With the Deerwood's people still weakened by Widewind's legacy, the Valian Republics easily pushed their would-be competitors out of the market. For her outrageous insubordination and audacity, Palagina was banished from the Republics. She traveled north in the Eastern Reach, avoiding Valian ports and entering the ranks of the kind wayfarers. Despite her bravery and dedication to those in her care, her strange appearance made her feel like an outsider wherever she went. Adair chose not to return home to Gilded Vale. Through a number of quiet inquiries, he soon found his way into the underground organization of Aethasians known as the Night Market. Ironically, in learning that the gods had been fabricated, Adair found his faith in Aethus renewed, and that his god was neither alive nor truly a god had become irrelevant. He rose quickly through the ranks of the Night Market for his optimism and for his bold leadership, his ultimate goal to make the Deerwood a place that would welcome followers of the Shining God once again. When the dust settled in sun and shadow, Aloth looked upon the remains of Theos Ix Arcanon, his former master. He saw where the Grandmaster had gone wrong, and he knew what he would do better. The secret of the gods would be preserved, and with it, the sanity and well-being of all Kith. He donned the remains of Theos's ceremonial garb and prepared himself for the long and lonely task ahead. With the Watcher's goals accomplished and his own vows fulfilled, Kanorua sailed back toward Rawatai, thinking on the lessons his travels had provided him. By the time he landed at Tekoa, he understood what his path must be. Standing before the Lore College, Kanorua explained that the tablet he sought had been destroyed, and so a true interpretation of the Tonvi Oratoa could no longer exist. The people of Rawatai would have to create their own. He described the many strange things he had seen in his travels, and announced his intent to pursue the accumulation of knowledge abroad, seeking answers to new questions. True to his word, Kana soon set sail on yet another expedition, and in Tekoa, his passionate accounts inspired many to follow in his footsteps. With Theos defeated and the souls released from sun and shadow, healthy children were born once again in the Deerwood. Pleasant and peaceful memories rose to fill the cracks in the grieving mother's mind. She returned to the birthing bell, unaware that the village nearby had become an empty desolation in her absence. Thus she began her tireless vigil atop the Adra, awaiting mothers and children who never came. Durrance continued to blame Woodica for the atrocities of the Saints' War. Believing Magrin to have been a pawn in the machinations of the Queen that was, and feeling that Theos's expulsion had been a step towards reconciliation with his goddess, Durrance tried for a time to reopen communication with her. When only silence came, he took it as a condemnation of his continued existence. Ultimately, he built a pyre and threw himself upon it, using his own shattered staff as kindling. Sagani experienced the 4 months of her journey back to Masuk in vivid colors. She strove to memorize every moment of her final trip through the Deerwood, Glonfoth, the Valian Republics, and beyond, preparing to tell her village of what she had seen on her long journey. All of Masuk shared in her triumph, and she felt her pride and elation magnified by the joy of her village. Never again did she doubt the value of her sacrifices. After decades as a long hunter, Sagani finally became one of Masuk's most respected elders. She guided her community with wise counsel, and a generation after she finally passed, another huntress journeyed into the world to find her soul. For you, the death of Theos brought an end to your waking visions, and a silence to the whispers of the past. In their absence, you were able to sleep. The questions of a distant lifetime ceased to trouble your soul. All that remained was what to make of the answer. Unfortunately, you would have little time to contemplate the matter. Soon after your victory at Sun and Shadow, rumors of a monstrous army swept the Deerwood. What first sounded like superstition and drunkards' tales turned out to be much more. Enormous creatures of flesh and iron found you and brought the walls of your keep down upon you.
Alright, well. Not a fan of that last slide being like, well, you didn't do the DLC, so everything ends with rocks fall and everyone dies, essentially. But oh well. Obviously, I would have done that if I hadn't hit the level cap, but the idea of spending, I don't know, 10 more hours playing the game without any sense of advancement mechanically is not enticing to me. Very much wish games like this would just not have level caps. There's really no need for them anymore. Enjoyed the ending slides. I particularly like Sagani. I really like to see more of her. I know she doesn't show up in the sequel, which is always sad, but it makes sense with her ending. Well, I don't think I have much more to say. I quite liked the game. I wish they hadn't had those difficulty pop-ups. So it's like, hey, do you want to make the game more difficult or not? As I said, that just kind of functions as an impediment in my ability to engage with what's happening, and certainly now having completed it, especially with that last fight being so easy, and I mean most of the end of the game being so easy, it makes me think, oh yeah, clearly I should have picked make more difficult, but like, at the time the pop-ups appear, I have no way to know what the correct choice is. And they're a very meta choice that I don't like having thrust at me in the middle of my gameplay. And I wouldn't find myself now contemplating whether I made the right choice or not if I had simply never been presented with the choice, which would have been preferable. Overall, I quite like the writing of the game, although it does lean more towards the maudlin than I generally like. Obsidian's writing is very pessimistic and focuses on the sad and the forlorn a lot more than I am generally drawn to. It's not obviously a quality thing so much as a personal preference thing. I like things a little bit more upbeat typically. Any other final thoughts I have before I end this session? I will be starting Pillars of Eternity 2 at some point. Well, probably not immediately. I might take a little break, and I might do something else between this. If so, it'll be something short, though. I haven't decided yet. I wasn't expecting to finish the game today. I thought I had at least another session or two. As I said earlier, I thought going into this session that I would get out of that dungeon, and then that would give me, like, an actual final dungeon to go do. Which did not happen. But, I suppose here we are. I see no reason to sit through the entirety of the credits. God knows how long that'll be, especially with the billions and billions of Kickstarter backers. So, with this brings to an end. Oh, it was session 49. I wish it had been one more session just to have a nice round number, but with this brings to an end of session 49 of my Pillars of Eternity turn-based Triple Crown attempt. Thank you all for watching and or listening, and I hope you will join me when I get to session 1 of Pillars of Eternity 2, or whatever else I decide to do between the two if there is such a thing. Bye-bye.